roll it up, we gon' burn it down.
Hello and welcome back everyone to PKIdeas for another tournament reflections video. This time around we'll be looking at the Australian Lidums Young Masters, continuing on in the series, and we are versing Riley Karayiannis. This time around I was versing Riley as white. So starting off in the game, we have the first move d4 followed by knight f6, knight f3, g6, c4, bishop g7, and here I played h3. In this position, I wasn't exactly quite sure whether Riley plays either the Grunfeld or the King's Indian, so I just decided to play a waiting move. Either after the Grunfeld or the King's Indian, my plan was to play bishop to f4 and continuing on with a London system type of position with my pawn on c4 instead of c3. He opted for the King's Indian defense by playing d6, and I played bishop to f4, continuing on my merry way playing the London system. Here he should have played something like c5, playing for the center straight away, but unfortunately he castled, and this gives me a slight advantage. I played e3, just like in the normal London system. Here he could have played knight to e4, equalizing the position, but he didn't do it, and instead he played knight b to d7. Knight b to d7 is an okay move, but the only question mark is where this knight is going to go. It's really unclear. Usually the knight goes over here, or the knight goes over to f8 and then to h7 straight afterwards. But I played knight b to d2, and he played c6. His main idea is probably to push the pawn to d5 straight away, and hence the reason why he played c6. Otherwise, he could also try for the knight b6 and then the pawn to d5 idea as well. Now I played bishop to e2, and he played knight to e8. Now knight to e8 in this position is actually a bit of a positional blunder, where the real question to ask when maneuvering your pieces is, where is this piece going to go? What is it going to do? And this knight on f6 actually does more things, attacks the center, attacks key central squares such as e4, and it attacks other squares such as d5 and h5. So the knight on f6 is actually more important than when the knight is on e8. So I'm not really sure where his knight is going to go, and this move pretty much cost him a tempo as well as the game, I think. Now I played knight to b3. My whole aim is to push e4 and aim for the center, and here he played a5, and the whole aim of a5 is to push a4 and then a3 straight afterwards. And my idea here is to leave the knight b as long as it's not attacked and continuing on with my development. So I did castles, and he pushed a4, and I played knight to c1. Where is this knight going to go, you say? My knight is going to go to d3, and the whole aim is to stop him from playing e5. Now a3 was played, after which I played b4. I capitalized on the free space that he has given me, and then proceeded to reposition all of my pieces so that they're on their best squares. Now he played knight to c7, and I played rook to b1, getting the rook out of the way of the long diagonal over here. And now he played e5. e5 is not a good move in this position because I have already gotten the center. Him challenging the center means that he had to have developed all his pieces, and they have to be on the best squares possible. However, his pieces in this position are not on their best squares. This knight on c7 is not doing anything. This bishop on c8 is not doing anything. And then rook on a8 is not doing anything. My rook on b1, on the other hand, is actually aiming for a b5 push. My knight on c1 actually is going to d3 to attack this pawn on e5, and my other minor pieces are doing extremely well. So I played bishop to h2 because my bishop's being attacked, and he played f5. He is starting to gain some more space. However, this is a bad move because I play queen to c2 with the idea of pushing c5. Instead, engine also just suggests that I should have played c5 straight away, followed by e4, c takes d6, takes, queen, takes, queen. Now I do queen takes rook. After bishop takes f8, I do rook takes queen, and I have won the exchange. So instead of doing all this, I decided to go for a safer option by playing queen to c2, with my next move being the aforementioned c5. Now he played knight to e6, and I played pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, and now I push my c5 pawn forward. Now he plays e4. If we take a moment to analyze this position, my bishop on h2 that I had developed very early in the game is now the best piece in the game. His bishop on g7 isn't necessarily doing much because of the fact that there's no pieces on that diagonal, and the a1 square is not used for any attack. However, the b8 square is actually used for a very important defense. If his rook was to go to b8 and push b5, then this position would have been fine. However, he can't play rook to b8 because of my bishop on h2. Knight to d2 was played, and now knight to e5, knight to c4. In this position, engine says that I am plus minus, completely winning, and I can understand why. If we look at the d6 square, I can just plonk a knight, a bishop, or a rook there, and he won't be able to kick it any way possible. However, if he does plonk a piece on this d3 square, I can easily chase it away because my knight on c1 is actually doing something on c1 rather than being there looking beautiful. So after knight takes e4, bishop takes c4, I've also now got this pin going on. So as you can see, this is quite a semi-open position with the center having different colored pawns on different colored squares. So my two bishops are actually wreaking havoc in terms of penetration and covering black's most important squares. So here he played king to h8, moving the king out of the way of the knight and out of the pin. And now I play rook to d1, kicking his queen out of the d8 square and effectively taking control of the whole center. So queen to f6 was played, and I played knight to e2. Can you guess where this knight is going to go? The knight is probably going to go to either f4, or he's either going to go to d4. So after rook to e8, I played queen to b3, doubling up on this knight, like so, bishop and the queen. And he played knight to f8. He had to move his knight back. Now, compared to my knight being on c1 like before, where it was actually doing something by blocking d3, his knight is actually doing nothing at all. In terms of the amount of squares that it has to go to, it can go back to d6 where it'll get taken, or it can go back to d7 where the feasible moves straight after that are probably e5 and only b8. So this knight is an extremely bad knight. Now, if we look at another minor piece, the bishop on c8, that piece is also inside the coffin that black has made for himself, because look at all these pawns which are in light squares. They're effectively the same color of the bishop, meaning that the bishop has no way of getting out. So I had to take advantage of this and played rook to d6. After bishop to e6, I just had to swap it off. Bishop takes e6, rook takes e6, and now I play knight to d4. After rook takes d6, bishop takes d6, I am +2 according to the engine. And if we look at the remaining of black's pieces, the knight, the bishop, the queen, and the rook, only one piece is working here, the queen on f6. The rest of the pieces are just there just for the sake of being there. They're not actually doing anything important. So here in this position I can proceed. Now he played g5. He was planning f4, but f4 doesn't do anything for my position, so I wasn't necessarily worried about it. And I played b5, pushing straight forward. C takes b5, queen takes b5. Now this b7 pawn is gone. He played queen to f7, a last-ditch effort to attack my a2 pawn. If queen takes b7, then queen takes a2, and he might still have chances. So I decided to become safe and play rook to b3. Now he can't attack my a2 pawn anymore, and he pushed on f4. As I told you before, I'm not necessarily worried about the f4 push. So I can easily play queen takes b7, queen takes b7, rook takes b7, f takes e3, f takes e3, and now the position is +5. And my pawn on c5 is going to queen soon, and a back rank attack is imminent. The game continued on after rook to a5, knight to f5, knight to e6, and rook to b8, and now Riley Karayiannis unfortunately resigned. And so that was the game that I played against Riley, I think in round number 7 of the Lidums Australian Young Masters. And so with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go down below and hit that like button for me. And also, if I did miss anything in terms of my analysis, or I brushed over something too fast or too quickly, please don't hesitate to comment down below what I had missed or anything that you didn't understand. I would try my best to reply to you as quickly as possible. And with that being said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also, finally, last but not least, thank you, and I'll see you next time.